crispy.
Mutants. Excellent. Alright, so I'm starting this this video with the same as I did the last video, with kind of a setup. Let me get some lights on here. With kind of a setup. I should have been prepared. Setup that I have here in place for this dial. I just wanted to what I always try to do for the most part is just kind of hook up a little picture inside of a dial so that people get the idea of what it looks like when you furnish it and when you put action figures in it and so forth, and so you do your ACBA or toy photography. And so this is what it kind of looks like without or with furniture. So obviously a lot of people ask me, do people get the furniture? Do you send them the furniture and the figures? Absolutely not. Unless they order furniture. Like sometimes people say, oh, can you get me this, or can you make a bookshelf, and that's different. But for the most part, they're just going to get a hollow diorama. For the most part, again, plenty of people have gone props, but just wanted to kind of show this off. And just I have a scene here where this Figma action figure, I never know his name, but I think he's a pretty dope figure. He's just an older Asian dude in a business suit. I guess he's giving Bullseye a folder and letting him know what mutants he needs to go after, and Bullseye's about it. Originally, I had that case, and I had the little money sign attached to the case or whatever, just to kind of make it funny. But that's kind of cool how you can see the reflection of Deadpool. Anyway, let's get into this dial. I'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back to this episode. And this is not going to be the easiest thing to record. This is just a bunch of shine everywhere. So these two back pieces are just little thin plexiglasses. These are actually plexiglass as well. Let me see, turning this off. You get a better idea in terms of what it looks like if you have no lights inside of the diorama, but how awesome that reflection looks. And let's see if we can turn these guys off so that you guys have a better idea of what the floor itself looks like. That's a lot better. All right, so this isn't gonna be easy, guys. Yeah. But we're gonna try to go through it. So let me just first start by saying that this dial, man, oh man, the frustration. I have never been so frustrated with this this art form in my life. Got contacted by a gentleman who actually had somebody already agree to create something similar, but for whatever reason they couldn't do it, so he asked me if I can do it. This was a while ago, man, and part of the reason it took so long to finish this is so many things went wrong. It's mind-boggling, actually. And actually, now that I'm kind of looking at it, this is a little crooked. That's a little crooked. I gotta fix those two before I send that, but that's an easy fix. But this is what I'm talking about. This all right, so got contacted. He wanted an office, kind of an office type situation for the Kingpin, I believe. And he had a specific color in mind, and he had a specific outlook on what he wanted, a vision rather, on what he wanted, which was kind of the back wall just being legit two big ass windows. Project sounded great. I know with these projects, they're very difficult for a number of reasons. There's a lot of balsa wood. There's a lot of precise cutting involved. There's a lot of things that need to line up for this to fit into place. There were new things I had never done. First and foremost, this is a double set. I think, let me see. I had to have it taped up. Let me just take off this piece of tape so I can open these doors. So this is a double set of doors. And the first issue I ran into is that I ordered a set from a seller in China. Never received it. He said he was going to send me another one. Weeks passed, never got it. Finally got the doors from a seller in the United States of America. So it was great because I got it within a couple of days. Great. So those are just the prefab doors. They came in brown. Those doorknobs that you see are just, dollhouse doorknobs. Usually they're in gold. I actually spray painted them in nickel. Nickel is the silver I use for the most part in this diorama. The borders, those are just from Home Depot, and those are you can I forgot what section you can find them in, but just like the kind of the molding that people use. So I thought that was a good idea to use in this case. Then we have just a skinny piece of balsa wood going up there, basswood rather. Then we have some more molding up top, and this molding is the one that kind of has kind of that angle. So I thought that would be a good look with this. Then that ceiling is actually, this was actually bought at Hobby Lobby, and it's meant for this. It's meant for doll houses and so forth. So that's kind of the, and I forgot the name of it, just kind of that aluminum type ceiling that you would see in older buildings, fancier buildings back in the day. Those two pieces are just plexiglass. The floor is plexiglass. So man, the difficulty in this is crazy. So first and foremost, I end up using glue stick, this big thick glue stick that I've been using lately to stick paper to the foam, to the installation foam, to the pink stuff, right? So I do it all around, and then I forgot what I did. I think, that's what I did. I painted the top, the sides, the back, and then painting the back, I put it outside so it can dry, and left it there for a couple of hours. And it wasn't a particularly muggy day or anything like that. It was a pretty crispy day. I come back and all of the paper was warped, like the weather affected it in a way where the glue shrunk and the paper just I was mortified, bro. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Somehow I was able to peel this same paper back. No, I'm lying. As I tried to carefully remove the paper so I can re-glue it, it just, no, it did work. This side worked. So this side worked. I carefully took it off, and what I did instead is I put a Mod Podge, and then I kind of thinned it out as much as possible, put the paper on, and use like my license to like really get every little centimeter connected and glued. And I think it's gonna be fine now. The weather shouldn't affect it. Same thing happened here, but when I tried to do that, I ripped the paper. So I went back to get this style paper, and of course they did have it, but the shade was off. So I thought it would look weird to have that style paper with a different shade of blue, so I just went with a whole other blue. And this is kind of a shimmery type of paper, so I thought it fit well within the context of this diorama. And then the floor, had no idea. He wanted like these shiny, and I'm like, so I looked it up online. I actually contacted a company that makes these in black, and was just like, hey, I just need a couple black pieces. I'll score them over here. I don't think they contacted me back. So what I did is I took two pieces. Let me see. So I took basically one of these like plexiglass joints that you can buy at Hobby Lobby. They're not expensive. They're $2.49 at Hobby Lobby. So I took one of these, spray painted it black. So it just went all black, right? So what it ensured is that the other side would be shiny because of the fact that it's a shiny finish. And so the first round I did, I thought I painted it black solidly. It was a windy day. I didn't. When I put it down, you could see some spots. So I had to repaint that. Then when I did the second piece, I went to because what I did is I think I taped the corners specifically. Why did I tape the corners? Anyway, when I went to glue this piece down, all of the black spray paint just literally fell off the acrylic. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, it was getting super frustrating. I'm like, yo, why is this dial? What is it? Why is it battling me? Like, why is it against me? So I had to respray paint that. And then I had to actually, just because I didn't trust anything to adhere, any glues to adhere the acrylic to the foam, there was this double-sided super Gorilla tape my dad gave me years ago that I use it once in a while, and I just used that, and it ended up working really good. So then what I did is I measured it out. I took this white pencil that I have, and I just kind of measured it out, and then I took a ruler, and then I took this little tool that has a sharp edge to it, or a little sharp point to it rather, and I scored these. So this was flat, and it just pretty much scraped the lines right onto there, and they came out pretty good. It actually, I was happy at the end. At the end, I was like, yo, this came out, like, the floor looks good. It looks dope. But man, yo, and then I for whatever reason this happens sometimes. This foam kind of warps and what have you, and or comes warped, and so you try your very best to kind of align everything. In a situation like this where everything has to be kind of perfectly aligned, like everything's cut into the corners and all that good stuff, right? I go to, and see, I still have to see what I'm saying. Like I still have to paint that in silver. I just noticed it now. And on top of like fixing those two little. Anyway, so then when I laid, so I glued this on here. Then when I laid it on top of the dial, there was like the biggest gap in that corner, and I'm like, yo. I'm telling you, it was just one thing after another. What I ended up doing is I ended up taking this off and then putting a strip of foam sheet and then glued it on. So basically, the ceiling is almost like it's flat, then it kind of angles off a little bit, and you can't tell just with the naked eye, which is great. But what it does is that it expands it at the corners or at the back and corners there, so that you can't see the light on the other side. There is no gappage, and all it is because this is kind of sticking out a little bit more than this part. And because of this type of material, I was able to do it and get away with it. Because if it was like another type of material, you would see kind of the lump. Because that's what it is. It's almost like a tiny little ramp here. But again, you can't tell with the naked eye. And then at one point during the build, he asked me if I can create like a breakaway, like if somebody had thrown somebody out one of those windows. And I was like, man, that's a pretty cool idea. So I created this thing here. Which is basically just another piece of that plexiglass or whatever, and I laid it, I cut it out. First of all, I made sure that I didn't have to cut this glass, so those windows are the exact size of the weight, the size that this plexiglass comes in. So I just laid this down and I took a hammer to it and started smashing it away. Then I took some plastic cement and I would do a strip of plastic cement, and then I would put like a little piece of this cracked, and then I would put like I don't know, like, something like this where it would like hold up the piece at the angle I wanted it to be held at until it dried. Then you take the piece off and plastic cement. It dried great. So this piece, and then I framed it with basswood. So this piece goes in and out of this part here, which is removable. This is permanent. This is removable. So you can either have that look or that look. You can even have it, and I might actually send them some debris of glass, but you can have it so somebody's flying into the dial, you know what I mean, like Captain America with a shield, or you can have it that somebody's being thrown out. Glass, when glass breaks, obviously it doesn't do it doesn't necessarily do this. It just kind of shatters, but how can you possibly mimic glass shattering? So I thought this was just kind of a good way to go about it. If you have it like coming from the inside, you can do a lot of cool shit with it. So I'm very interested to see what this photographer does with this, but he does want to take like action shots. So this is more ACBA, more up my alley in terms of what I wish all my dials were used for is action figure photography, ACBA. This is 16 inches across. It is 12 inches tall. It is 12 inches or 11 inches deep. Everything's magnetized. I'm not gonna take it apart because I am just so frustrated with this tile that I'm afraid I'll do something, and I mean it's solid, it's not gonna break or anything like that, but I just don't feel like going into the whole thing. But it's magnetized here. This piece is actually, you see, magnetized there. Is once again laying kind of on the outside, and then this piece here is laying on this side. So I had to find a way to cut that plexiglass so that, man, this dial was something else. Oh my goodness, what a pain in the ass. But sometimes it's like that. The floor itself, what I've been doing is I have this came with like a pair of Adidas sunglasses I got some time ago. So I've been using this, like anytime I put my hands on it, you put fingerprints all over it, but all you have to do is take one of these soft glasses type wipes, and it doesn't scratch it up, and you get to go. And that's actually, I'm still pulling some of the plastic from the scoring is still kind of coming up a little bit, which is fine. Yeah, so this is it. I'm so happy that this is done, man. But these two doors do open up. I did have to put like a little piece there to kind of there we go, to match up, because there was just kind of a gap there. So there's just another piece of basswood or balsa wood, or basswood in this case, painted black, just to kind of cover that gap up. And I'm done. Peace.